So the question is like this. The Kabbalists, how do they define health? Rav. Instead of body and soul healthy, they say when a soul is healthy, the body is healthy. It depends what's at the beginning, what's at the end. So please explain what a healthy soul is. Rav, a healthy soul is if a person is working in bestowal for the good of the whole. He's outside of himself. So if we could exist in such a way, then we would feel ourselves in our eternal existence, completely healthy, and we wouldn't even have a question or thought about what diseases or some kind of bad situation. In other words, a person is always healthy. Rav, all the diseases are a result of thoughts of myself. You know, it's already like a sentence for tutor. Yes, it is. So, what is medicine, doctors? You can ask questions why the Kabbalists weren't sick. They were very sick. How is it possible? The fact is that as long as humanity is still sick, they're sick for one another. So, of course, the Kabbalists are also sick along with everyone because they're dependent on humanity. But when we get closer to the correction, we will live more and will be less sick. We will live longer and be less sick. And we will live till a state until the feeling of life will be replaced. When you talk about life, you're not talking about biological life. Yes, of course, if not. I'm talking about the feeling of existing. Mushi, it's very interesting that in 1938, when the World Health Organization made an interesting report that health is a result of our social health situation, and now they added the economic situation. Rav, yes, a person has to be balanced. He's a complicated creature. Rambam said that being concerned for health is one of the ways to reach the Creator, and therefore a person has to distance himself from everything that damages the body and takes everything that's healthy for the body. Rav, everything can be defined in the spiritual level that the body is the soul, and also physically. But this is correct and that is correct. So the Rambam was also a great Kabbalist and also a big doctor. And everything that he wrote out of spiritual attainment. Yes, of course. He wrote from spiritual attainment, the Rambam, and everything he wrote about medicine, we can take a lot from it. I would recommend doctors learn from that. Mushi, if somebody opens the Rambam's book, will he understand something without a teacher? Without instructions? Rav, yes, I had prescriptions from the Rambam. He used to say, take a tree like this, mix it with that, and use it for this, all kinds of diseases. There are people that deal with that, but as a principle, today you take a pill and that's it. If you start looking for these roots and branches in the field, minerals, Mushi, and in general, how does the wisdom of Kabbalah relate to health and a healthy lifestyle? Rav, the wisdom of Kabbalah relates to it in a very simple manner. It's a very practical manner. If you're healthy in your soul, in your spirit, you'll be healthy in your body. But today it's not simple because we're connected to one another in one soul. And as long as humanity is in this state, Even if one person will be a Kabbalist and look after himself and be connected to the whole world in love and bestowal toward all the others, still the general body is damaged with the ego disease, so the Kabbalist will still be sick and suffer. Mushi, does it help a person to do sport? Rabash used to do sport, like you said. You also do sport. Rav, the Rabash used to do sport, but it's in a very limited way, as much as necessary to maintain the body's operation, body's function. You said Rabash used to do 400 movements in the water. Yes, the Rabash, he walked. He went to learn to study. He studied. He learned how to swim at the age of 65. He used to swim with the kids at the age of 65. He's the man with a beard. At the age of 75, he used to swim with them and listen to the teacher, the swimming teacher. And that's it. And he used to do it. Where did this idea come from? I wasn't there at that age. I came when he was 70-something. So he learned to swim. He went to the beach and he used to do 400 movements in the water. Or he had a bike and he used to do 400 spins on the bike. Why 400 Mushias and not 403? Multiply 40 by... just go over it again and again, Rav says. But today, sport has become a culture and this kind of cult. Yes, people need to deal with something, so it's better if they deal with sport and not something else. There's all kinds of extreme forms. The bodybuilding, people that... the Wisdom of Kabbalah doesn't like this so much because every gram of excess causes damage to the physical health and spiritual health. Boris, so around all this health, there's a lot of... there's nutritious eating, and it's written in the books of Wisdom of Kabbalah about sleep and nutrition. The Rambam writes that a person doesn't need to eat when he's not hungry or drink when he's not thirsty. Mushi, is it true that a person, when he eats, he has to use all 5 senses, smell, listen to music? Rav, once upon a time it was like that. If a person gets food properly, then he needs to do that. Lean to the left, but today you take something in the street and the falafel or whatever, and you gobble it down. You stand outside like a horse and you just gobble it down, like a horse. And afterward, you have all the gas and everything from the cars. Sorry, you take a bottle of Coke with 20 spoons of sugar. So yes, Boris says, the Rambam always used to say that they used to go to rest after food until the food digested. Yes, the Rambam was actually a doctor for kings, and he had very good wisdoms taken from the Wisdom of Kabbalah. I'll tell you another thing, that until today we still have sketches that he sketched the Rambam, how he recommends to work with the skull and the brain and all kinds of parts of the body. How to do operations in all parts of the body that we still don't know. Semyon, someone from Moscow is asking, what spiritual root does all the promotion and desire for the booth to have this muscular body, shapely body? Why is it for one person easy and another person difficult? Tanya, please understand, it's the ego that's growing in people, that wants to support itself and maintain itself. And there's an entire industry of cosmetics and medicine and beauty parlors. I know someone who has a beauty parlor and a store, very big. And he says there's such fights in this industry, and what kind of money is rolling around, and the struggles over customers. It's just crazy. Boris, this image of a healthy person used to be completely different than it is today. Today, it's not like once upon a time, 90, 60, 90. Today, it's not even clear. I think it's twice as less, no? There's no connection to health at all. In general, all the all this, it's not even sustainable. It actually damages the health. A woman has to be normal, not some fake image. I hope we reach a state where we appreciate people according to their social participation, how pleasant it is for us to be in contact with them and speak to them. And if someone will be 10 kilos more, then it won't disgust us or attract us. We hope we'll be attracted to the inner qualities. He doesn't need to be ugly on the outside to revolt people, but not to satisfy all kinds of artificial standards. Mushi. So actually, we have a lot of knowledge about health, and there's courses we have on this subject. But we only have an hour, so we're going to talk about a few concrete points that you'll relate to, and you'll tell us how you relate to it. So, nutrition is separate, and vegetarians. A person is born that they have to eat meat, period. We're creatures, we're capable of anything. What do you mean nutrition is separate? It's milk and meat is separate. That's the desirable. If you take what is written in the Torah regarding nutrition, you'll see that it suits the spiritual root. Meaning chemically separate. Today we're going back to alternative medicine and homemade remedies. Rav, I don't think everyone is going that way. It's a matter of access to medicine, access to modern medicine. I don't see a replacement for regular medicine by homeopathy and all those things. It's good as a help, but not more than that. Question: what kind of development of medicine do you see for implementing the principles of Kabbalah? Rav, I think that to implement the principles of Kabbalah, when we implement them, there will be less and less of a need for medicine. It won't be replaced by natural medicine. All the massages and stones, and it's good, but it's not a replacement for the chemical medicine we have today. Even though we're building so many chemical pills and homeopathic methods that are being sold in pharmacies, we're living until the age of 80. In the past, it wasn't like this. And it's a result of this fake artificial diet that we have and artificial medicine. It's holding us. You can get mad at them, but how can you explain that we're still reaching such an age of 80? Where are all those diseases that we had in the past? The epidemics that used to drop humanity to its knees, all that no longer exists. So you can't just say it's all rubbish. The wisdom of Kabbalah supports modern medicine, homeopathic medicine, with an addition of other things, but eat in a normal way, use medicine, and live calmly and develop your soul. So Mushi, according to what I understand, the wisdom of Kabbalah is not against this or that medicine, it's just adding the spiritual element. Look, what helps in India and China doesn't necessarily help in Europe. And what helps the Chinese does not necessarily help the Europeans. Today they discovered an interesting fact that 32 to 40%, it's not viruses or diseases killing people, but it's all kinds of stress and all kinds of internal problems that are as a result of the connection between people. Rav, yes, definitely. If the nervous system is the central system of the body, and it's all getting out of balance as a result of social problems, then it influences the whole body because our nervous system maintains the whole body in the correct function. So it influences it to that extent. So as a Kabbalist, you say 80% of the diseases are nerves. Yes. Someone from Moscow is asking, do Kabbalists have pain in the soul, pain in the heart? Rav, if a person has a soul, then it can hurt. And a soul is an attribute of bestowal to the public. So what is disease in this case? The disease is when I cannot implement these good feelings, these true, genuine feelings toward others. Can I say something sweet? Okay, we don't need to get into it, sweet or not sweet, but we need to implement this love. You can see it as parents who want to do good for their kids, but they can't because he resists it. A person who is not a Kabbalist, and he has a pain in his heart and his soul, so what hurts him? He is hurt in his nerves, he has pressure in his nerves, and that hurts him. Or the heart is contracting, and it needs to push the whole person, and so it appears to him pain in his soul, but he doesn't have a soul yet. Having a soul is being in bestowal to others. There's something that's called a blessing before and after food. What is this thing? Does it help? It helps if we are in one system and connected to the source of life, the upper light, so it's right for food and for the whole of humanity. And it directs a person to all the levels of matching the whole entire system. Therefore, the blessing means I understand what I'm doing, where I am, what act I'm doing, what result I want to reach, meaning the blessings before a meal or after a meal, what words you use to express yourself. It helps you to become integrated properly in this general system. And in this way, you are in the correct flow of the forces of nature. And it is felt in a very powerful way. And all this, and other methods speak of this also. Let's say I take some porridge made of oats, and it's made of it's made of molecules, and I'm also molecules. I put it in some vessel of my body, and they're connected somehow. So what happens? There's exchange of energy. Rav, you're talking about the pleasure from the porridge, or how it's absorbed and becomes part of your body? There's connection at different levels here. At least explain at some level. At the end of the day, we have to connect to one general desire and receive the entire upper light in it. So it turns out that one of the points of connection, one of the ways to connect, all of us to connect with the levels, animated, vegetative, is the use of nature for nutrition, for food. That's first of all. And also the blessing helps us to integrate. To integrate ourselves in the entire nature. And so what did you say about swallowing the food? Yes, swallowing the food. Is it in exchanging energy with nature? Yes, it's exchanging knowledge. And if you eat the artificial food, then it won't give you the same knowledge as the food that is from the earth. Because this is how our desire works. When it receives, when it comes in contact with all kinds of things like food, sex, family, happiness, honor, that's when you integrate all kinds of external forces inside you. The light is there? No, apart from desire, there's nothing, like always. So how is it? If you talk to physics, they'll tell you that there's nothing. It's not meat. It's waves of energy. Alexander from Russia asks, is it possible for there to be something along with the person's spiritual advancement that all kinds of diseases will start disappearing? Rav, we spoke about this. The moment a person starts to rise spiritually, then the body also starts to be more maintained because the soul is advancing and it has to support the soul. A subject like hygiene. It started not so long ago in culture, and that's not precise at all. Hygiene exists from the days of the Torah, the Talmud. So what's the purpose of water? It says, it is written, that there is no cleanliness without water.
Кстати говоря, про мыло очень мало сказано.
So how do we relate to it? To taking a shower and swimming. Rav, precisely about soap, there's not a lot written. There was soap, but they didn't recommend using it like we use it today. We live in another time. Our dirt is different, not like there was in those days. So therefore it was recommended to use soap, and there were also special cases where they used mud, oils, and fats. Boris, the touch with water and swimming. Yes, they always encourage that, especially women after their menstruation, but also before Shabbat, women would usually go into the pool. The whole population went through this physiological cleansing, and it is written very precisely about all these things in great detail. Moshe, you always say that in the Torah it doesn't say a word about this world. Why? Because our body is part of the general system, and the upper roots, what it says about the upper roots, you can say about the lower levels. So the Kabbalists actually wrote about the upper level out of attainment. Why skin problems? Why are skin problems healed most difficultly? Because the skin is the most egoistic layer that comes into contact with the external world. It has its own brain, nerves, meat, and skin. So the skin is the external part, and it's very hard to heal it. There's another term with the Rambam: don't accumulate and don't hold yourself back, about pressure. Yes. Rav, in no case should you should release yourself of anything the body wants to release out of it. Any pressure, any accumulation that the body feels itself under pressure, that it wants to release. So Moshe asks, if the desire is really pressuring a person, then it's better to do it once and that's it. Rav, it depends what you're talking about. If it's something physiological, then you need to release it. And if it's something social, then it has to be according to social norms. Why do people with mental illness why can't they learn Kabbalah? Why is it forbidden? It is forbidden because if you look at psychiatrists, they're all attracted to it. The moment we open courses, they come like butterflies to the light. You can understand it. I do not reject them, but they have to be worked with sensitively, because people with delicate health, they grab onto it and they like it, but they also need a framework that holds them, and a sympathetic framework to their situation. It's always been like that. Also, when I studied with the Rabash, many unbalanced people showed up, all kinds of people who are looking for something spiritual, apparently, something so-called spiritual. They reach Kabbalah. But as a principle, more of them are in psychiatry, psychology, and there's tons of them there. Mushi, what do Kabbalists do among them that can harm a person with a mental illness? A person who is unbalanced, everything can damage them, but the minute they start to study Kabbalah, so they start to be under very strong internal pressure. There's work against the desires, and the wisdom of Kabbalah requires good health. You need to get up at night, learn in the evening, to make place inside him for the group. All this isn't easy. You have to build things inside from scratch. You have to integrate the group in you. A person with delicate health, Moshe, it's better to recommend that a person like that does meditation by himself somewhere. Rav, no, but it's better. We're not getting into it, but it's better to somehow distance him. From Nikolai, if someone's asking, where are all those things that people used to live 900 years and more? Rav, they're speaking about spiritual stages. Moshe is 120 years. They used to live longer than regular people in Europe. In the medieval times, in Europe, they got all kinds of diseases from the East and all kinds of epidemics. And Jews were not sick because they used to live in a separate ghetto. They used to shower. They used to prepare food in a special way, and therefore they wouldn't die. And then there were all kinds of things they blamed them for, that it must be their fault. So what's a healthy way to eat? Rav, I don't know. As long as a person is connected to society. Igor is asking, I heard that the Rambam spoke of damage, and a lot of people are speaking of their benefits. So who's correct? Because many people are recommending it today. Fasting is an abnormal situation of the body. An animal doesn't eat, they only do it. An animal only does it to make themselves healthy. The only thing that is good is not to eat a lot, because then you turn the food into poison. Eat when you are hungry. Walk before you eat 10 minutes. Never eat something dry. Don't eat too much salt. All kinds of spicy things. Can you have a little cup of something with it? Schnapps? That's good, but what are you looking at me like that? This is what I'm telling you from my teacher, the Rabash. He had a little cup, 30 grams, and 3 times a day he used to take 30 grams. I don't think it's a bad use. He used to drink. For him, this energy would go through. It was processed in a very fast way. Yes, of course, before food. And a phenomena like fasting doesn't make you healthy. You have 5 fasts a year. Now, fasting is not one person that starts fasting. And then it becomes a spiritual ascent. It is the rejection to use the vessels of reception, the egoistic vessels, that together rise up. But is it good for the body or not? If you do it with everyone, it's healthy. Wow, that's amazing. Maybe say something good about smoking. I'm not talking about grass, but regular cigarettes. There's a question from the desire to smoke. Rav, you're from Kola, you'll get it from me. I smoked for 50 years and I stopped. What can I do? If you really want to, no. Try to explain that you are rising above yourself. Rise above. A person can rise above himself, apart from food, sex, family, control, happiness, knowledge. Those are natural needs that we need to provide in a normal framework, but smoking doesn't belong to them. So it's better to stop smoking together. We can take a group and make everyone stop together, and you'll see how much strength you'll have. With the help of the group, I stopped easily because the group forced me, and they did it on purpose. Is smoking bad for you or not? I don't think it's bad for you. Depends what quantities, but I think that the fact that in the world there started to be politics and this wave against smoking, it's based on people wanting to bring drugs in instead of drugs like marijuana instead of smoking, and they've already started this because it pays more. The cigarettes aren't giving anything, they're not calming people down. So you're saying then there was never thought about the health of humanity? Of course not. Who's interested in that? Who's ever thought of that? Making society healthy. Imagine the companies that created billions of cigarettes. They were pushed into the corner, and they wrote on the boxes that it causes cancer, etc. And everyone shut up and did it. And all this was in order to bring humanity drugs. So you're saying these desires of food, happiness, sex, power, they need to be supplied. So how should they be supplied? It depends how you relate to it, what the measure is, the normal measure. The measure is to bring the upper light through you to society, because food sex and family are basic necessities that you must supply. Otherwise, you won't be able to exist. The next are happiness, honor, and power, control. Those are social desires that you can develop inside of you to the extent that you can be connected to your surroundings, to the society around you. Another subject that's connected to health is sleep. The Rambam writes that there's 24 hours a day, and a person has to use a third of that for sleep and get up before the sun rises. But the Kabbalists write, I don't think they really do it, but it says, who sleeps 8 hours? Never works out that way. It might have been like that in those days. 8 hours is also the middle line. Why does a person have to do it? To go to sleep early and wake up early if possible. If possible, go to sleep 5-6 hours at night and wake up when it's dark. That's good. So you're saying in the villages it was right that the sun goes down and a person goes to sleep. Rav, it's best. Like King David, he used to go to sleep at 6 in the evening and wake up at 12 o'clock at night. And at 12 o'clock at night, he used to start his workday. I don't know how it was for him, but there's a lot of diseases connected to lack of sleep. Rav, I see that Kabbalists prefer to sleep 5 or 6 hours at night and another hour during the day. And this way it works out that they can work in a serious way. You said that Rabash was able to disconnect for a few minutes, sleep, and then come back. The main thing was to disconnect the brain. Mushi, is there a minimum that the body can exist without sleeping if it's for the long term? I think that 4 or 5 hours, a person can't function with less than that. Mushi, don't eat when you're upset because the body can't digest the food properly, and you have to pay attention that the people you're in the meal with will be in a good mood. Rav, I'm telling you that the meals in those days were accompanied by certain correct smells, fish, and different for fish and different for fruit, and there were special wines and alcohol, and there was vinegar, there was salt and pepper, olive oil, there was tons of olive oil.
Это считалось необходимым дополнением, потому что помогало вырабатывать определенного вида желудочный сок. Дальше музыка
would accumulate around the food because it was considered a necessity, and music.
Как-то действует. Вот. Ну, мы можем представить себе, что если у тебя есть определенный вид пищи, к этому определенный запах.
People felt the general influence on themselves. Because if you have a certain kind of food, certain smell, you have a different perception of the whole food that was cooked. So what's better, to be quiet during a meal? Yes, to be quiet. The Rabbash never spoke during the food, just a tiny bit, and few and far between. And you're saying this is what happened in the temple? I don't know about the temple, but I used to sit right in front of him during the meals. I used to put food in his plate and organize everything. I knew exactly what to put in his plate. He used to drink a cup of something. He liked fresh onion. He liked vegetables, but no speaking. How many times a day is it best to get food? 3 times for sure. And apart from that, he used to drink coffee a few times. Between breakfast and lunch and dinner, he used to drink coffee with crackers.
Не рядом с пищей съедал яблоко.
He used to eat an apple. Not at the same time as the food. It used to be a whole ceremony. You have to bring him a plate and a knife and napkins. And he used to cut the apple. After the meal, they're separate. They're completely separate. You're saying we have to be quiet. There has to be music or quiet. We didn't have music, but according to the books, there should have been music. I think especially for women, if you eat in this way, with good smells and music, then you'll eat less. Pay attention to it. Mushi, just the opposite. Maybe it'll give you an appetite. No, a person is satisfied from it, it says. From the correct smell and music, a person can be clean. And apart from that, there are all kinds of recommendations to eat less. It is forbidden to put salt on all kinds of because salt with a grapefruit makes it sweet, so you mustn't do that, so you don't eat too much. I wanted to ask about the disease of the century, depression. They didn't have depression in those days because people were doing spiritual work. So any form of the spiritual work was for spiritual advancement. So depression didn't even exist. In our time, we have to do spiritual work, and we're not doing it. So 70% of humanity is depressed. And you think it's because of this? Yes, of course it's because of that and nothing else. They can make up all kinds of excuses, but not in that. So what do all the antidepressants do for us? If the antidepressants give us some kind of chemical compensation, but it doesn't solve the problem. What about placebos instead of giving actual medicine? A person lives in spirit and not all kinds of physical means. So a placebo can influence a person. Any kind of thing that makes a person happier, gives them confidence. If you give a person confidence, they'll get rid of lots of their diseases. Tatiana is asking if a person becomes sick and says to himself, there is none other beside him, can he get better? If he just says to himself, I don't think so. But if he's in a group and he knows that the group is supporting him,
он спрашивает, связаны ли мои болезни с тем, как я связываюсь с моей десяткой?
Ruben from Santa Marta
но если будешь с ней связан правильно, сможешь вылечиться от всего.
is asking, are the diseases influenced by my connection to the 10? I think not, but if there's the right connection, then you can get rid of the diseases. So what is actually medicine according to the wisdom of Kabbalah? Rav, it's simple. Attract the light that reforms and you'll be healed. There's nothing else. That's a disease. Igor writes, I work in a coal mine. Does the wisdom of Kabbalah, can it help me bring back my health? That's not a simple question. It depends what society you're in. It's possible. It's possible that you can become healthy. It depends where you are, what group, what you're studying. I would recommend getting into it. You will see that suddenly you'll have new internal energies. I feel this person. Is it possible that people will reach a state that psychological problems will stop appearing in our world? Psychological problems will stop being an issue when we get closer to each other. They only appeared because we distanced from one another. We need to yearn for the general state where we're connected. So the light will begin to clean all of us from inside. And again, we will begin to complete ourselves in one general system as one body, all of us together. And then all the problems will be gone. All the diseases inside us will be gone.
Скажите, такое изречение: дано врачу право лечить. Я не помню, откуда это.
Да.
Талмуда, может?
Нет, да, с Талмуда, да.
A doctor has the permission to heal.
То есть, если
What is the meaning of that?
В общемедицинской точке зрения тоже верно. Но врачом считается такой каббалист, который может подключать к себе другие души.
For a doctor, it's also true, but a Kabbalist can combine other souls to his and correct them. Have you heard of serious diseases that Kabbalists could heal? Is there such a thing? I can't say that I saw it. I simply know that the Rabash in such a case would say, come sit down, we're starting to study. And we would study part of Talmud Aseret Sfirot, and he, in any case, would believe that it would influence.
Вопрос. Как каббалисты относятся к чаю, как относятся к кофе?
Question. How do the Kabbalists relate to tea and coffee? Rav, I don't know about tea, Rav Ashton drink, but coffee, 15 cups a day.
Не крепкий кофе.
There's a flat spoon of coffee here and hot water.
И кипяток, и больше ничего. Ни сахар, никаких добавок.
And that's it. No sugar, nothing.
Залила все, да. Вот таких вот 10-15 стаканов.
Just with water. Yes, 10 or 15 like these a day.
Горячей воды практически.
Это очень важный вопрос, часто его задают. Владимир Печуркин спрашивает, могут ли болезни указывать на неверные шаги в духовном продвижении?
Все болезни.
Another question, can diseases influence wrong moves in spirituality? All the diseases. But we need to understand that there's a soul, a single system, and then our spiritual system. And everything comes from there. There's no bodily disease that doesn't come from some internal disease.
Но пока мы не излечим наши души, тела
We can heal ourselves as much as we want,
Но мы можем
but
сделать какой-то
until we heal our bodies,
и мы можем сделать какой-то вывод, судя по
we
тому,
won't get rid of the
Я думаю, что
diseases.
если мы начнем складываться вместе в одну
And some
систему,
diseases can't be cured.
то мы действительно сможем быть здоровее. По крайней мере, если
Is it possible to draw a conclusion from this?
это и видно, это знают и, кстати говоря, и воспитатели.
If we're starting to get into the spiritual system together,
В добром коллективе, то мы увидим, насколько они будут
and
здоровы.
if we educate our children that we're in a good environment, then we'll be healthier.
Такие изъяны, как
It's clear to all,
врожденные, там, потеря
to
зрения,
teachers
слуха,
also.
это не препятствие к занятиям.
Врожденные такие изъяны – это не препятствие к занятию каббалой, но дело в том, что излечиться не знаю.
If there's something wrong with the kids, but I don't know how, it doesn't
верю в силу света.
prevent you from studying Kabbalah, but I don't know how it can be cured. I believe in the light that redeems us, that can change everything.
Дошло до
But if it's reached a state where
повреждено.
that the body is damaged,
В этом гильгуле, в этом кругобороте, в этой жизни уже быть не может.
Вот Артур из Уфы спрашивает, злободневный вопрос, у нас еще есть время.
then
Почему
there can't
онкология?
be equality in this
Онкология молодеет, потому что
in this
эгоизм
incarnation.
расширяется. Онкология – это чистое
Why do
следствие
ecological
нашего
problems
эгоизма,
start at an earlier age? Because our ego is expanding. It eats everything outside itself and dies.
только от эгоизма зависит.
And along with the body that it's destroying, it all depends on the ego.
Больных, вы увидите результаты. Я не гарантирую,
Try to deal with
будет абсолютный успех, но какой-то успех
Work.
обязательно будет.
in annulling the ego.
Все вы сказали, все связаны. Так
Ну,
или
во-первых, мы
иначе.
все связаны.
Oncological patients they're talking about.
Как-то заниматься групповой работой и так далее. Но омолаживание,
We're all
оздоровление,
connected.
излечение относительное в группе, оно обязано происходить.
Но корень в рывке эгоизма, да, сегодня?
Да.
Но вообще такой общий рецепт «поменьше думать о себе» — это
A
всегда правильно.
statement in general.
Не надо поменьше думать о себе. Надо думать о группе. Надо быть внутри группы.
So thinking about yourself as less as possible. You don't need to think about yourself less. You need to think about the group. Then you'll be healthy spiritually, physically. And try to deal with that. And then you'll see you'll have no questions. You'll be able to answer them yourselves. You'll see in the connections between you this entire system. It's a natural system. Therefore, we have nothing to think about specially, but just do what the Kabbalists say in the connection between us. We have a Congress coming up in Germany. We're meeting next week in the European Congress in Germany. It's a great big park. It's good for it's a healthy place. Rav, I'm going to the Congress. I'm not thinking about parks or anything. I'm getting off the plane, getting to the place where I give the lessons, and that's it for me. And then I go home. So they say it's a really nice picturesque place. They're receiving us well there, the locals. I hope you'll all be with us. I will think about you, and you will try to think about one another. All the best, and so long. We'll see you next week.